Hi, this is Frank with a Frank Opinion. Today I'm introducing the third part in a six-part series I'm doing that I've titled The Failure to Enact Medicare for All is a Unique American Failure. I'm titling today's third part, The Dark Side of Organizational Branding and Weak Egos. And I want to offer some examples. Example number one is Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal. A little history of the Medicare for All Acts. In 2003, Representative John Conyers introduces H.R. 676, which many have considered and still consider the gold standard with regard to a Medicare for All bill. There are very few things that 676 did not address. He introduced it in 2003 with 20 co-sponsors. He passes away. H.R. 676 in 2018 reaches 124 co-sponsors. A lot of work in those 15 years by a whole lot of organizations and Americans pushing relentlessly to increase the number of co-sponsors for H.R. 676. In 2019, Pramila Jayapal, instead of keeping intact H.R. 676 and whether she had to have a new bill number, what have you, but essentially keeping the same bill as written, decides to rewrite the bill. She introduces H.R. 1384, the Medicare for All Act of 2019. And what happens here when you do a rewrite is that you're essentially postponing, because you have to go through rounds of negotiations and explanation and so forth and so on. But she introduces it with only 106 co-sponsors. So in the process of making sure that her name is attached to a Medicare for All that might be in fact enacted, she loses 18 co-sponsors in that process. Here we are today, 2021. We have H.R. 1976, whether there was some rewrite there, I don't know, from 1384. So we're now up to 116 co-sponsors, still nowhere near the 124 co-sponsors, which we should have been building on. Why? I submit to you that when someone does this and has to have a need for her own personal historic attachment to a bill, it is because of a weak ego, not a strong one. Bernie Sanders, this may come as a surprise to you. That's my example number two. In 2017, he introduces Senate Bill 1804 with 16 co-sponsors with much fanfare. People had been waiting for this for a long time. Indeed, Bernie Sanders waited 14 years after the introduction of H.R. 676 to introduce a companion bill in the Senate. And actually that companion bill was a sufficient difference to H.R. 676 that in and of itself, if everything was nice and hunky-dory and you had a Democratic House, Democratic President, Democratic Senate, you'd still have a delay in the enactment of that because it didn't really it wasn't a true companion bill to 1384 at the time. I'm sorry, H.R. 676. 2019, only 2 years after the introduction of Senate Bill 1804, Bernie Sanders introduces Senate Bill 1129 with 14 co-sponsors, 2 less than he had before. Why would he do that? I don't know. And quite frankly, I have not read in depth 1129 to find out how it is different from Senate Bill 1804. Any rewrite is going to delay enactment. 2021, here we are, July 15th, I think, and we have no Senate bill. Nothing from Bernie Sanders, no Senate bill from anyone else. We have nada, zilch, zero bill in the Senate to fight for. I've been told that he wants to put it in the in a budget, and a massive budget reconciliation bill. Clearly, to me, in my opinion, the full 1829 will not be incorporated in a massive reconciliation bill, but maybe I'm wrong. Example number 3, former President Barack Obama. And I simply ask the question here, does he fear that a passage of a Medicare for all, true, universal, single-payer bill will outshine his Affordable Care Act, nicknamed Obamacare? Will history kind of overlook the fact that he managed to get a substantial enhancement of health care in our country through ACA, and that he doesn't want to have something outshine him? Because I have heard peep from him with regard to a full universal single-payer system. I think that demonstrates a weak ego, not a strong one. Example number 4, Democratic Socialists of America. And here, I'm looking at the word comrade. I've attended 2 Democratic Socialists of America meetings in the past. The last one, the New York City chapter, a couple of years back. And I'm questioning the use of the word comrade either at events or at meetings, help or hindrance. And I'm not saying that every chapter of the essay uses this word, but it is used. Is that helpful or is it a hindrance? I posted on Facebook a question, are you comfortable with the word comrade? What connotations or associations does it first bring to mind? Overwhelmingly, clearly more than 50%, probably closer to 70%, the word is a negative in the minds of lots of people. It's alienating. So I'll read to you a couple of the comments on Facebook. The first one, from a Democratic Socialist. I'm a Democratic Socialist, but the Russian connotation of comrade doesn't feel natural or right to me. Another comment, the Cold War, Soviet Union greeting. The third, trusted friend in the same fight, more generic. But overwhelmingly, the number of comments were controversial, that it produces controversy. I submit to you that DSA, which does a lot of work in promoting Medicare for all, and that's terrific, look at the word comrade, look at anything that it does that doesn't maintain the focus. Because what is the objective here? Medicare for all for 333 million Americans, or an increase in your membership? You have to have a priority. And to the extent that what you're doing in terms of identification, a label, a brand, is working against your goal, you have to kind of rethink it and ask yourself whether you want to continue with that. Example number 5 is all the other organizations, and I include here National Nurses United, HOPE, that's health over profits for everyone, Progressive Democrats of America, Democracy for America, Our Revolution, and AACP, Labor Campaign for Single Payer, etc. Is the putting your organization as the first among many and doing things unilaterally without asking your partners in the Medicare for All movement to join with you as equals? Do you have to fight over who has dominance over whatever event is going to take place? Is you, as director or president of an organization, worried about your status within the movement as opposed to focused on achieving Medicare for all and kind of submerging your personal ego in order to be helpful to advance the primary objective, which is a universal single-payer system for our country, affecting and benefiting 333 million people? I hope that I will see soon some of these organizations come together and produce an event together without question, at least in terms of the public perception, of any infighting for primacy in terms of who gets credit for that particular event. The numbers are there. The organizations are vast in numbers for Medicare for All. Come together, get it done.